Welcome back to Silence Challenge Day 8, I think it is, and we're reading chapter 7 today, and it's a good one. It really kind of speaks to everything that I learn, practice, study, and teach in the form of yoga and meditation. So get comfy and listen to chapter 7. Contrary to what I believed when I was younger, the basic state of our brain is one of chaos. The reason that it took me so long to understand this is that my days often pass on autopilot. I sleep, wake up, check my phone, shower, eat, and head off to work. Here I respond to messages, attend meetings, read, and converse. My own and others' expectations of how my day is supposed to unfold guide my hours up until the hour when I lie down again to sleep. Whenever I fall out of this rut and sit quietly in a room alone without any goal, without anything to look at, the chaos surfaces. It is difficult only to sit there. Multiple temptations surface. My brain, which functions so well on autopilot, is no longer helpful. It's not easy being idle when nothing else is going on. It is quiet and you are alone. I often choose to do anything else rather than to fill the silence with myself. I've gradually come to realise that the source of many of my problems lies precisely in this struggle. Of course, I am not the first person to have such thoughts. The philosopher and boredom theorist Blaise Pascal promoted this type of exploration as early as the 1600s. All of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. Love that quote. So, a discomfort with being alone, holding one's tongue, and simply being did not start with the advent of TV in 1950s. With the coming of the internet in the 90s or with smartphones, it has always been a problem, and Pascal was probably the first to write about this feeling. The constant impulse to turn to something else, TV, series, gadgets, games, grows out of a need with which we are born rather than being a cause. This disquiet that we feel has been with us since the beginning. It is our natural state. The present hurts, wrote Pascal, and our response is to look ceaselessly for fresh purposes that draw our attention outwards away from ourselves. Of course, such opportunities for interruption have increased dramatically over the last century, a trend that seems set to continue. We live in the age of noise. Silence is almost extinct. What a quote that is. One of Apple's founders, Steve Jobs, understood not only the benefits but also the dangers associated with using the technology that he helped invent. Jobs limited his own children's access to Apple's products. I have more faith in Steve Jobs as a responsible father than as a visionary marketing genius. According to a much referenced study, we humans are worse at concentrating than a goldfish. Humans today lose their concentration after 8 seconds. In the year 2000, it was 12 seconds, while the goldfish averaged 9. I suspect that the research on goldfish is extremely limited and that the performance of these creatures should be taken with a pinch of salt. I mention this study for the conclusions it draws about humans. With each passing second, it seems increasingly difficult for us to focus on a single topic. Hence why hardly any of you will have made it this far in this video. We find an echo of Pascal in a note by the writer David Foster Wallace, who is from the same generation as me, the writer. Bliss, a second by second joy and gratitude at the gift of being alive, conscious, lies on the other side of crushing boredom. Pay close attention to the most tedious thing you can find: tax returns, televised golf, and in waves, a boredom like you've never known will wash over you and just about kill you. But ride these waves out, he concluded, and it will feel like finally getting a drink of water after many days in the desert. So Wallace's solution is to accept this state and then do something with it. It's about functioning well in an environment that shuts out everything that's vital and human, breathing without air. The key is the ability, whether innate or conditioned, to find the other side of the road. I'm not sure about pronouncing this word. The Picayune, Picayune, Picayune. The meaningless, the repetitive, the pointlessly complex. To be, in a word, unborable. And I love that word. I stopped at that word, and so did I. Unborable. Perhaps it should be the other way around, that it might be good for people to occasionally be a little bit bored, to refrain from plugging themselves in, to stop and wonder about what it is that we are actually doing. I think that's what Wallace meant too when he was a small boy attending primary school. He shared his grand ambitions with his mother. I want to create a brilliant play, but it wouldn't start until all of the audience members except one had left the theatre because they got so bored and quit the performance. I like that the only thing required here is endurance. That was a very meaningful, profound chapter. I'll just check the time. So we're going to sit in our silent bubble today with just the sounds of nature in the background here for 1 minute 20, so 80 seconds. So we're going to start in 5 seconds. Ready, go. That's it. We've done our 80 seconds and we will continue to build and just see what the silence holds for you, what experience you have. I would love for people to comment silence in the comments if you're getting involved, if you're giving this a go, and to, spread the word, to share it with other people in this age of noise and chaos. I think it's a lovely thing to do, and I hope you do too. Bye for now.